12 months ago, I was on this very spot to stop my first 50+ carp into the fishery that I built behind me, Kev's Pool. And today, it is time to see how much bigger they are than the day that they went in. 24. Joe, I thought he was less than that.
Carp, a word that people know all over the world, and it means different things to different people. In America, these fish are seen as invasive and pests, with officials often electrifying the water to get rid of them. In Poland, carp is seen as a normal fish and it can be found in supermarkets. Carp is even the most popular part of a Polish Christmas dinner. And in Japan, they have bred some of the very best looking carp known as koi, and some of which have sold for over $4 million at auction. But in the UK and many parts of Europe, we look at these fish differently. The pursuit of the very best and biggest carp has grown carp fishing into one of the largest recreational sports in the UK. Fishery owners and fish farms spend years protecting, feeding and looking after their fish to grow the biggest and most desirable carp for anglers to catch.
And my
expensive fish
cost over £25,000, and for the last year my mum has been feeding them nearly every other day, and I've had some of my friends come and fish the lake, also introducing lots of bait. So how much bigger are my C4, Summer 4, C5, C6 and the 2 C7 carp that went in the lake behind me? Let's find out.
Meet Ben and Sam from AGS Fisheries. They'll be helping me net my lake. Now, usually I'm up for having a go at everything. But for a task like this, I decided I should really enlist some help from the professionals.
It's netting day! Lake, it's very cold today, it's like -4. Or it feels like -4 with the wind chill, but there was a frost last night. So I'm about to get in the wet stuff with a semi-cold and a complete chesty cough. Sounds like a good idea. What's the game plan?
Well, it looks nice and easy because it's not too big, no snags, but like a typical carp angler, you've dug features in the bottom.
Yeah.
So they might be a bit tricky for some of the bigger fish.
What Ben is saying is that the numerous features that I built on the lake bed, like the shelves, gullies and plateaus, will actually be the most challenging parts of the process, as they can cause gaps at the bottom of the net, allowing the fish to escape underneath as the net is dragged across.
So this here is the permission that we needed to actually net the fishery today, because if we didn't have this, we get in a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah.
Like with everything to do. Like, so why do we actually need this?
So it's just control on what's going on, really. So we're using fishing equipment other than a rod and line.
Okay.
So that needs to be regulated. So just like having a rod license, we need a license to use a seine net or a ledge fishing equipment.
Okay.
And we list potentially whether we're going to remove any fish, so we can then record where they're being moved to. So there's traceability for where the fish have been. If there's any disease outbreaks associated, there's a potential to track that back to where it's come from. We'll start at that end and drag the net this way first, down to this end, and see how that goes.
Ben and Sam had kindly brought another dry suit so I could give them a helping hand in the lake. But as we found out before, me and suits don't really go together.
Yep, I'm wet.
And this suit was no different.
How are you supposed to get in this? This is, I'd say, arguably harder than a wetsuit to get on.
Okay.
trying to pull it.
Reborn.
Jesus Christ.
But eventually, with some help from the lads, I was in.
I think it's a bit big.
That's what she said.
The boys had stored the large nets in wheelie bins, and we got the equipment up to the corner that we would begin the first drag from, so finally it was time to slip graciously into the lake.
Right, Joe. Right, now we're down to the bottom, there you go. Deeper, 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 deeper. I feel ridiculous, but I'm very excited. It's just that when I try and do things, they don't go like as smoothly as they look like they go for other people when they try and do things, like whether it's in a basket or like trying to put fish in the lake or literally anything. It never goes how I want it to go for me, but everybody else copes with it fine. But I'm trying. But I feel like my feet are going to come out of these wellies. But I'm really interested to see how this is going to go, because what we're planning on doing is starting by dragging a net from this side to that side of Kes Pool because of the shape of it, but it can be deceptive. From this bank, it kind of looks like it's just literally a square, but from the sky, when you stick a drone up, there is actually some cubby holes and corners, and the bit that people don't see is actually what's under the surface level of the water, which is all the features on the bottom of the lake, like the deep holes, the gullies, the plateaus, the shelves. It's like an egg box underneath the surface of the water. It's not flat like the surface of a sink. So this makes the challenge a little bit harder to see if we can get all the fish, but I do have my laptop with me and all the sizes of the fish saved on there of when they went in, so it's going to be really interesting to see just how much or how little weight my fish have put on in a year.
Okay, so in here we can stay nice and tight to the edge.
Yeah.
Once I've got a bit of net in the water, I'll come up with you and we'll work our way around, because we're after trying some of the small ones as well. I'll probably walk through the reeds to try and scare any of the small ones out that might be hiding in the reeds.
Remember back in the summer, the outbreak of the thousands of little tiny carp that I had after my fish spawned? Well, today we find out if I have a few hundred, thousand, or tens of thousands of those little carp. And if my extremely clever perch that I stopped,
Get him! Oh, he swum into the bank, that one.
the heron, and the freezing weather have put a dent in some of those numbers.
Right, we don't want this to get tangled up. This is the aerator.
Yeah.
The issue I've got, boys, is do you have to swim at any point?
No.
Right, well, I'm on my tiptoes right now, and this is the shallowest corner.
Right, see how it retains a bit of air?
Yeah.
Right, I'm now off my feet, so if you come off your feet...
Oh yeah, there's like a technique to it. Oh shit, it's coming in my hands, yeah. Right, how do I get back down?
Put your feet back down. Got it?
Sort of.
Just down there.
You've got yellow boots on, so if you go upside down, we'll know where you are.
Okay.
We began by pulling the net across the width of the lake.
The water is inside this suit. I think it's gone down my arm and I can feel it running down my chest at the minute. I don't feel like I'm doing a lot. At the minute I feel like I'm being netted rather than netting, if you know what I mean.
Ben was splashing the reeds to make sure that no fish were hiding, and after discovering I was literally doing nothing, I went for a bit of a walk.
The fish have literally carved out holes like this across the bottom where my feet are going into. In some places it's rock hard where they've been feeding, in other places it's ridiculously soft where they just haven't touched it and all the sort of sediment has sort of barreled up into the different pits.
Ben and Sam could then begin to drag the large net, which had hundreds of little weights on the bottom, across the lake.
But do you think you'll get them all in this one swoop?
Not all of them, no.
Really?
How many is it now? About
57.
Don't forget these fish, you bought them at C5 to C...
So loads of C6s in there.
C6s.
A couple of C7s.
So if you think of those fish, they've been on Viv and Simon's farm
Yeah.
for 5 to 7 years. So they've probably been netted 5 to 7 times.
Right, okay, yeah.
So they know the drill, a few of them fish. They'd have, you know,
This is not their first rodeo.
It's not, no. So
I don't think holding on to that reed's going to do much, is it? Hey guys, I just want to feel like I'm helping. Christ, that's some pull we've got to do on that, isn't it, to get it to move? Do you know what I actually think it's got the hardest job of everybody here? Sam is currently stuck over there talking to Mum with the entire net dragged down that bank.
Now throughout the day we did 2 nettings of Kev's pool. Going in both directions and pulling loads of fish in became so tiring. So every time I hopped out, I made sure the lads were well looked after.
Right lads, you look hungry. So I've got you a little something. Smooth vanilla, fresh berry, cold brew coffee, classic choco and happy banana. Because those are the flavours that are in our favourite waifu taster pack.
fresh berry for me.
Fresh berry.
Thank you.
And with 26 vitamins and minerals, Y food is high in fibre, it is lactose free, gluten free, and there is even vegan options available too. But with the amount of fish that you touch, I doubt that you need the vegan option available one, sir.
Not for me today.
What do you think?
Delicious, thank you.
It's alright, isn't it? It means you don't actually have to eat when you're in the lake doing stuff, because like eating with those gloves on and hands that cold is never that easy. Today, after getting out of that very cold water, I've gone for a cold brew coffee flavour, which actually has natural caffeine in it too, meaning that it should give me just about enough energy to go and wrestle with some carp in a minute. It's actually delicious.
actually put me to work.
Can you feel any in there?
Bound to be one or two.
I reckon them perch for the time of their life in there.
There's a glass cup there.
How rare's that? If you want to be energised just like we were to be doing tasks like this during the day where it's really hard to get hold of any other healthy lunch to replace one of your meals, then make sure you head to the description of this video, click the link to grab yourself one of these amazing Y-Food taster packs, and don't forget to use the discount code down there and on the screen now to get yourself a healthy discount too. Thanks Y-Food.
So back on the first pool, we were closing in on the corner and starting to see some of the little fish that were in Kev's pool for the first time.
Here we go, look. Cool, look at the scales on him. I'm suspecting that's going to be one of quite a lot.
Well, I don't know. We had a lot get eaten by the heron. I think quite a lot.
Oh my god. Oh my god, there's millions. It's mad to see for the first time. So what's our game plan? Are we going to remove as many little ones as we can?
Little ones we can, we'll get them straight out the way so they're not getting bashed about by the bigger fish.
Yeah.
And then we can put the bigger fish into these holding cages, and then we can process them at the end. We can weigh them, photograph them, do whatever you need. All right.
Look at that. Is that one scoop?
Yeah.
Oh my god, look at these.
A donkey, that one, yeah.
Look at the size of that tiny little carp there, and look at him next to him. Further ahead, this one's got. Mum,
Here, look.
this is baffling.
Okay.
Look at that.
We began by getting as many of those small fish out as we could and putting them into the holding tanks that the guys had brought.
Let's take this back.
Let's have a look in this tank then. Oh my lord. I feel like I'm like, you know when you go to the garden centre as a kid and you like look in the tanks? What I just can't get over is how much bigger some of them are than others. I genuinely thought there was going to be loads. I genuinely did. If you remember back in the summer just how many fish were over on that bank, there was thousands it looked like. So between the heron and the perch, they've obviously been doing their job. Did you think there was going to be more or less little fish?
I thought there'd be more, to be fair.
So did I.
Seeing how many when it was like first spawning and stuff.
Yeah. Round two. That is absolutely awful. Oh, that is like submerging your hand in crushed ice. I think I'm gonna watch from the bank this time, you know, just to get a different perspective. It's warmer here. Right, I think it's about time that I get out of this suit. I'm gonna get into a pair of my waders, which will be a bit easier to move about in. So to start to weigh some of the fish that we've actually got in the holding nets that we've already caught, whilst the boys do this swoopy whoopy whoop poop of the rest of the lake.
Child Labour Services then attempted to get me out of my suit.
You know, there's like restraining suits.
Brother. Don't tap it, whack it. That's the one, son. Yeah.
And what do you do?
Pull the bottom of that. That's freezing. Cool. I've got to get over my head, and I. Yeah. Harder.
I can't do it looking into it.
Oh no! I can't
And with myself out of that body bag and into my waders, the guys did another sweep of the lake, but this time in the opposite direction.
Cold old wind, that. Really cold wind. Going into the opposite corner, having a sweepy deepy deepy across the other side now. Seeing how many more we can get. Now the anchor. I'm gently moving. I'm working. So casually he just got in then. He literally just got in and walked down the bank. That is heavy, look, that's all my weight leaning on that. And it's barely, like I'm fully leaning back. And like, it's barely moves. That's nuts. Right boys, this is the game plan, yeah? So what we're gonna do is the guys are just currently bringing the fish, the last ones that we caught. We didn't get all of them, but we've got about 45% of the stock of the lake and some ones that we recognise too in these holding tanks behind us. We're now gonna get some of those out one at a time, just like when we stopped them in the lake. We're gonna actually weigh them. Then what I'm gonna do is have Louis writing, Child Labour Services, writing on a list everyone that comes out the weight of that fish, and then we're gonna head indoors and check out the weight that they went in at versus the weight that they are now to see how much they've put on in the last 18 months. And these are actually the same scales that we used when the fish went in to weigh them, so we know like discrepancies in one set of scales being different to the other, so we should get a proper accurate reading. Cool. See what we're working with. So Louis, you want to take one picture? Right, first fish. Last time I think I said something like momentous occasion. First fishing lake. I don't particularly remember this one. He's a little bit more of a plain one, so he's not going to be easily recognisable with the features on this one, but we'll give him away. What are we saying?
24 pounds.
24? Do you know what? I thought he was less than that. Yeah, you're right, it's 24 on the dot. So we're currently during the edit and we figured out that this fish that you've just seen now is actually this fish that went in at the start. It's just that they are the other way round, if you get what I mean. And I've saved this one at 22 pounds 7 ounces. And this one, at the point of bringing it out and weighing it, was just over 24 pounds, meaning that it's put on over £1.5 pounds in over a year.
That's nice. Good soaking. Nice wet hair for the... This is over 24 in this one.
Yeah. So, and this one's actually got a nice scale pattern on it, so it should be a little bit more, check them fins, should be a little bit more recognisable, shouldn't it? It doesn't feel ridiculously heavy. Let's 27 and a half. At the length of this bad boy. I wonder what weight this one went in at. Well, I've got the answer. It went in at 24 pounds 2 ounces, meaning that it has put on 3.3 pounds in just over a year. Insane. But now 27.5 pounds.
We then spent a while weighing and checking over several of the fish, which had all put on an average of around 2 pounds in weight, before running into a rather familiar friend.
Cool looking fish, and when it went in, I think it was a bit under what we expected. It was like 26.5-ish, and it sort of stayed similar because it has been caught twice, I think, since it went in. So 29 on the dot, so it's put on a good £2 then.
Good, yeah.
Over the course of the year. I think we've got the big one. That one looks dead. That one looks massive. That's the one. We all knew the second you saw. That's huge. Oh my god. Yeah. What are we saying, lads?
28.
Do you reckon?
29.10.
29.10. Yeah. My scales are a bit shaky for the actual ounces today. I don't know, you know. That feels a little bit meaty, that does. That feels a bit meaty. And there was no mirrors that we put in the lake that have ever gone over 30. So, until now.
Do you want just the read?
That would be very helpful. But that needle looked to me. Oh, great idea.
No, I might be able to.
Oh, I don't think we can call it. It's like 29.10. It's like 29, it's literally 29.10. We can't quite call it, just underneath £30, but this fish definitely didn't go in.
That's not bad for a winter.
Now that's not bad. And the mad thing about this would have been one of the C6s, not the C7s, because the two C7s were the birthmark and the bigger of the commons that went in the lake. So this would have been one of the C6 fish that would have actually gone in at like under £25. And I'm right, this fish went in at just over £23, just under £24, and is now £29 10 ounces. I know that seems uncomprehendable, that amount of weight that it's put on, so this fish must have been either a bit under the day we stocked it or has just piled on the weight, but it has put on around £6 in weight. Genuinely.
Yeah.
Although there was a couple of 25s, this might have gone in at 25 and now sitting literally just underneath, a smidge under £30. Look at that. You've got on very well. You've definitely been feeding these up, haven't you?
Well, just feeding them as I'm supposed to do.
I reckon that could be the biggest one, you know, in the lake. Potentially. So, this is the one that I'm going to finish up on. It's by no means the biggest, but it is one of the prettiest and most scaly ones. I think we managed to get about 38 to 42% of the stock out today, something like that, boys.
Yeah, we caught over 20 fish.
Over 20 fish, so it's over 20 fish of the 57, 58 that are in here. So, this is our final guy. I told you he was nice and scaly. Oh. Had to pick the one that was going to beat me up, didn't they? A massive thanks to the boys for coming and help netting the lake today. It's been a really interesting process for me. I've learnt loads as well. As I say, this is all new to me, so I've learned that the fish probably have a few too many of these little Arculus parasites on, but there's some stuff that we can do, including adding garlic powder into the mix to start to try and make these fish slightly healthier, but it's nothing crazy to worry about. It's really normal in a lot of clay lakes and a lot of fisheries across the UK, so it's not like drastic or anything. It's just something that we can solve as well as a way to solve the problem. And if we hadn't have done this today, we wouldn't have learnt that. We also wouldn't have learned that in a year the fish have put on about an average of 2 to 2.5 pounds, which is really impressive in weight. It's been a good day all in all. I've got very cold at different points. I've been very stupid at different points. I've nearly fallen over at different points, but always try and get involved and get stuck in a little bit as well. And if you want to get stuck in, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Also, if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up button, and soon you'll be getting a lot more content on the fishery, including a video idea that I've come up with that's a bit crazy very soon. We've got a video dropping on GURTWINGS of opening our new site in Bristol, and lots more to look forward to, and I've added a load of videos that I'm involved with onto the channel too. Hit the subscribe button, go grab yourself a Y-Food so that you can have a healthy lunch. Don't forget to use the link in the description to do so. Thank Child Labour Services as you do, and we will catch you in an upcoming video soon. Cheers! You rascal! You walking the plank?